Imagine a country where the chaos of the streets is actually the essence of its harmony, where spirituality is present on every corner, and ancient traditions coexist with the rush of modern life. This is Vietnam, a place that, at first glance, seems to defy any Western logic. Here, chaos isn't an enemy, but a way of life. In Hanoi, for example, the chaotic traffic is like a real dance of motorcycles, horns, and pedestrians. Yet somehow, everything works, as if guided by an invisible harmony. Vietnam is more than a travel destination. It's a living paradox, a country where the deep roots of tradition intertwine with a rapidly transforming future, creating a unique and fascinating blend. In this video, we'll explore a Vietnam that few people truly know, a country where the spiritual isn't some distant belief, but something tangible in daily life. Get ready to discover what makes this place so special, and why its traditions and contrasts teach us more about life than we might imagine. On the streets of Vietnam, life moves at a frenetic pace. Motorbikes weave through traffic in a blur of sounds and motion. Street vendors mix with passers-by, and cafes fill every inch of the sidewalks. At first glance, everything seems out of control, pure chaos. But as you look closer, you begin to notice something fascinating. Behind this apparent disorder, there is harmony. The Vietnamese people find beauty in this chaos. They're in no rush. They don't obsess over controlling every second of the day. For them, life unfolds in the present moment, in movement, in community, in exchange. There's no single goal or final destination. They flow with life. Unlike Western culture, where control is essential, Vietnam teaches us that to live well, we must embrace the unexpected. Life on the streets of Hanoi, for instance, is a sensory experience like no other. The hum of motorbikes, the chatter of voices, the aromas of food, it's all lived together. Everyone has a role, even if it's invisible to the outside eye. In Vietnam, harmony isn't something imposed. It's something you feel, in the collective, in the energy that radiates from the people and their way of living. Vietnam is a country in constant dialogue with its past. In many homes, the altar is the heart of the household. Every day, families gather around it, burning incense and offering food to their ancestors. For the Vietnamese, the dead are not distant. They are part of life, guiding and protecting future generations. These daily rituals, which might seem like an old-fashioned way to honor the dead to Western eyes, are actually expressions of a deep belief in the continuity of existence. Here, death is not the end, but part of a cycle that continues alongside the living. Vietnam preserves its traditions in a way that transcends time. In a rapidly modernizing country, the respect for the past remains unshakable. In temples, altars, and homes, there is constant care for memory, for what came before. This is reflected in the offerings made to ancestors, gestures of gratitude for all they left behind. And it's precisely in this connection to the past that Vietnam finds its strength. A culture that, even as it modernizes, never forgets where it came from, or who helped build it. Vietnam is one of those countries where spirituality permeates every aspect of daily life, but in a unique way. It's not about one single religion or dogma, but a fascinating blend of Buddhism, Confucianism, and deeply rooted local beliefs. Every temple, every gesture, every ritual reflects this fusion, a search for balance, harmony, and connection with something greater. Walking through the streets of Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City, it's common to see monks in their traditional robes, moving silently while temple bells ring softly in the distance. These sounds are not just reminders of the country's spirituality, they are invitations to reflection. The sacred is everywhere, in every corner, in every silent prayer, even in the small offerings left in shops or by the roadside, as requests for protection or blessings. Vietnam is not only a land of culture and tradition, its landscapes are true masterpieces of nature, creating scenes that look like they were painted by the divine. Ha Long Bay, with its limestone mountains rising majestically from emerald green waters, is a perfect example. These towering rock formations, seemingly frozen in time, are among the country's greatest symbols and places of deep spirituality for the Vietnamese people. But Vietnam is not just about seas and bays. In the northern mountains of Sapa, terraced rice fields carve breathtaking patterns into the slopes, a visual harmony between humans and nature. The ethnic villages that inhabit these regions live in deep connection with the land, cultivating it with reverence that goes back centuries. The mountain winds carry the stories of the past, and the scent of wet earth serves as a constant reminder that Vietnam literally breathes spirituality. For the Vietnamese, nature is not merely a backdrop. It is a living being that deserves respect and care. The earth, water, and sky are sacred, parts of an eternal cycle that must be preserved. Every tree, river, and mountain carries a legend, a myth, a story that connects the Vietnamese people with their ancestors and with the universe around them. Vietnam is therefore a place where the divine resides not only in temples and altars, but in every corner of its stunning landscape. Despite its cultural and spiritual complexity, Vietnam carries a charming simplicity. In the streets of small villages, in Hanoi's markets, or in the little squares of its cities, life is lived gently, without haste. People work, talk, share meals, and often lose themselves in the beauty of the present moment. This way of life reflects one of the greatest values of Vietnamese culture, the concept of Nhai Nhang, literally translated as gentleness or lightness. It's a way of living that prioritizes calm, detachment, and serenity, even in difficult times. For the Vietnamese, living lightly doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means facing them with a peaceful spirit, without being consumed by anxiety or hurry. Vietnam's cafe culture perfectly captures this simplicity. Small, street-side cafes where customers sit under the shade of a tree, watching the world go by as they sip strong black coffee, with no rush to leave. People connect deeply with the present, with what's happening around them, rather than worrying about some distant, hectic future. This attitude is also reflected in how they face hardships. Despite the deep scars of war and economic struggles, the Vietnamese people continue to smile, carrying a quiet strength that radiates through their simplicity. For them, life is a series of moments meant to be embraced with lightness, a continuous flow that keeps moving forward, no matter the obstacles. In Vietnam, what might seem like a simple gesture or custom to the locals can be completely unexpected to visitors. The country's rich history and mix of beliefs give rise to traditions that may appear unusual or surprising, yet they carry profound cultural meaning that makes them utterly fascinating. One example of this is egg coffee, a traditional Vietnamese delicacy that combines the boldness of strong coffee with the creaminess of a mixture of egg yolk and condensed milk. For the Vietnamese, this isn't just a drink. It's a symbol of the fusion between flavors and of the country's ability to blend the local with the modern. Coffee, beyond being an essential part of daily life, serves as a bridge between Vietnamese culture and outside influences. Another fascinating custom is the practice of making offerings even in shops and on the streets. A simple business, no matter how modern, might have a small table with fruits, incense, and other items, a gesture of respect toward the spirits believed to protect the place and its owners. This tradition is deeply rooted in the belief that both positive and negative energies directly affect one's well-being and success. And of course, Vietnam is also known for its superstitions about numbers. The number 4, for instance, is considered unlucky because it sounds like the word death in Vietnamese, while the number 8 is cherished for symbolizing prosperity and fortune. These beliefs influence everyday life in ways that may seem strange at first, but they reflect the importance of harmony and balance in the country's culture. It's these small details that make up the cultural fabric of Vietnam, a culture in which every gesture, no matter how simple, is an expression of respect, faith, and tradition. What may seem ordinary to locals can reveal an entirely new world to outsiders, one filled with meaning, symbolism, and stories behind every custom. Vietnam is a country in constant transformation, yet deeply rooted in its traditions. One of the most striking contrasts you'll find here is the harmonious coexistence between past and future. In many cities, Traditional villages exist side by side with massive urban centers full of skyscrapers and cutting-edge technology. You can see this clearly in Hanoi, where narrow streets crowded with vendors and ancient temples meet wide modern avenues lined with shopping malls and corporate towers. Modernization is advancing rapidly, but Vietnam has not abandoned its roots. In the cities, you'll see young people using smartphones while simultaneously making offerings to their ancestors at home altars. They are connected to the global world, yet never disconnected from the spirituality and traditions that define their identity. This relationship between past and future is also reflected in the people's daily choices. Vietnam is growing with the global economy, becoming a rising power in trade and industry. But the pace of life and the importance of family and community remain fundamental pillars of society. Even in an increasingly digital and globalized world, respect for ancestors and devotion to cultural heritage are deeply ingrained. The younger generation, fluent in technology, knows that progress is inevitable, but they also understand that without the wisdom of the past, the future would lose its balance. In Vietnam, the future is not a break from what once was. It's a continuation of it, evolving without ever losing its essence. Thus, the country moves forward, where the old and the new coexist, respect each other, and together build a truly unique identity. Vietnam is far more than a tourist destination. At first glance, it might seem to defy logic, but as we dive deeper into its culture, traditions, and way of life, we discover an invisible charm that runs through every part of this fascinating land. It's a country where chaos becomes harmony, where spirituality isn't a distant act of faith, but something lived every day, where the past and the future meet, respect each other, and walk side by side. Behind the rice fields, the silent temples, and the bustling streets lies an ancient wisdom, one that teaches us the importance of living in the present, respecting our roots, and finding beauty in the simple things of life. Vietnam reminds us that even in a fast-paced, ever-changing world, it's possible to find balance and peace, not through control, but through acceptance of life's natural flow. And that is exactly the energy that makes Vietnam unique. Its beauty lies in its simplicity, in its people who, even in the face of hardship, maintain their lightness and smiles. Its charm lives in the little things, in daily rituals, and in the deep connection to the past. Vietnam is not just a place on the map. It's a feeling, an experience that stays with you long after you've left its shores. If you enjoyed learning about Vietnam and its incredible traditions, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next stories from around our world. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.